What's up? Applied intelligence here. Just getting back from the gym, and you know, something I've been meaning to talk about. Um, and today, or this week, is 5 years ago, my mom passed away, and 5 years ago this week. And she's always been an inspiration to me, and uh, I wanted to apply some of the things she taught me to a particular issue. One of the things that she taught me is to always think for yourself, be an individual, right? And don't follow the crowd, which is she famously said. So, I've been hearing so much about, DEI lately. And, people are freaking out because, Meta, Facebook, stop DEI. It was bound to happen, right? So, DEI was doomed to fail. And it was doomed to fail because it doesn't adhere to the laws of nature or what I call the sophistication of self-preservation, right? So if you don't fundamentally understand how the world works, you're going to fall for a lot of things, and you're not going to understand when things don't work out, why are they not working out? So the most important thing is what I want to try to convey today is, fundamentally understanding how the real world works. So at the end of the day, everything comes down to power. Power moves the inertia in life, right? Power is not static, it's not active. Um, you know, Power is you're always accumulating power or you're losing power. That's just the way it is. It's at the center of the universe. You need power to move all things, right? So politics, therefore, is the art of using your power to influence what's in your best interest. But first, you must understand that you must accumulate power, right? And use power, um, to affect those things that you want. But in order to do that, you need wealth. Okay? Wealth. And I'm pausing there because that's the thing, wealth. So if you and your community have no wealth, it is highly unlikely that you will achieve any meaningful power, and hence you will have no political power. Okay, you're essentially powerless in a power-driven world. That's how the world works. We can't live in a fantasy world. So when it comes to DEI, DEI again was doomed to fail from the get-go because it was inherently powerless. And as soon as the moral appeal, right, ran its course after George Floyd and everybody was, emotionally, high and stuff. As soon as that ran its course, you've steadily seen this DEI and all these other initiatives, people just sort of, kicking them to the curb, right? Because DEI fundamentally is backwards. And by the way, I agree 100% with diversity, inclusion, and all that stuff. It's what makes us stronger. But unfortunately, if you want to achieve stuff, you have to be more strategic and understanding how the game is played. Other than that, you're going to lose all the time. So DI had it backwards, or the leaders of these movements had it backwards. It tried to achieve political power without first achieving economic power. Okay, and that just doesn't work. Wealth, again, leads to political power and not the other way around. So power is also compounding. Power compounds, right? Um, so power begets power. As they say, the rich get richer, and more powerful. And so too, the least powerful get even more powerless. That's how it works. So power builds power, and lack of power, just continues to build weakness, right? It's simple physics too. So there's no way around power. The world is not a morality play. It's a power play. I've often said that. Just so think about it this way. Just like investing, you can't get caught up in short-term gimmicks and short-term get rich quick, schemes. These things are fantasy. You have to find, a sensible long-term investment that's sustainable. Those are the long-term, sensible, sustainable investment opportunities, right? You got to change your mind to long-term thinking, right? And understand that if you want to achieve something, it's for the long term. As like people say, they invest for the long term, and they may not even get to the super benefit of that. Their kids may do that, get that, and they may create a legacy. So power, right, for communities, particularly Black communities, is also a function of how you think, how you strategize, okay, and how you invest in that. You have to make an investment in that. So otherwise, if you don't invest, you're going to just keep losing with these unsustainable, investment schemes, or something like what DEI is, right? So the formula is the same for all communities. All right. Black community is no different. Okay. It's the same human race, the human race. This race thing is a construct, as Toni Morrison famously said, right? It's basically a construct. We're all human. So the formula again is the same for all communities. Develop an entrepreneurial culture, produce entrepreneurs, and most importantly, invest in your other Black entrepreneurs' business, and invest in each other. Okay, it has worked for other communities, so it's why would it not work for the Black community? Okay, but unfortunately, in the Black community, investing in each other and investing in each other's entrepreneurship doesn't happen. And why is that? Let's be honest. You're talking with applied intelligence here, so I don't hold back, right? I may not always be right, but hey, I never speak behind your back, and I always speak the truth. All right, so why does this not work? The dirty little secret is that many Black folks, not all, but many Black folks, okay, don't invest in their own people. Okay, and when you go to them, and particularly the so-called elite, um, you know, Black folks, even some of the professionals or whatnot, they don't invest in their own community. What they do is they make excuses, okay, and turn to government grants and other paternalistic programs, and as you know, nonprofit organizations, okay, to do for them what they must do for themselves. Okay, just an excuse. They talk, talk, talk. They want this intergenerational wealth. They want this and opportunities. But instead of doing what everybody else in the universe and since the beginning of time has done, in terms of work for it, invest, right, and invest in each other and invest in your community, they run to the government. But as you see, invested in, depend on government to do for you what you must do for yourself is fleeting, right? And particularly in Canada, as you see now with liberal government, got all these programs and all that, it's over. So where are you, right? So we must do for ourselves, and that's the bottom line, okay? Because if not, what happens is we drive a victimhood culture of constant complaining and constant begging, which is something very important now, which is something our ancestors, okay, never did. Never did. They never begged and they never complained. Well, we have a culture now of somebody owes you something. We want reparations, right? Reparations for what? You didn't participate in any of this stuff, or even some of these people today, their ancestors or whatnot. Well, no, okay, there's no reparations for you. That's not going to happen. People feel entitlement. That people have to, people owe them something. Nobody owes you nothing. The world doesn't owe you nothing. Nobody's coming to save you. If you're not going to rescue yourself, you're going to drown. Okay, so in regards to money and power go hand in hand. It's symbiotic, right? Um, and we've seen this throughout history. Okay, if people read, they'll recognize these systems, these dynamic systems through history. So, for example, centuries ago, the aristocracy. Okay, for example, they had all the power and they own all the assets and they own all the land, and from those assets and from the land they became landlords and collected rents. Okay, that's the aristocracy. That's that particular system, the feudal system, whatever. But today, nothing has changed. Technology, may has certainly changed, but the nature of power hasn't changed, right? Because today it's the big tech aristocracy, okay? And they're collecting cloud rents. All those things you're paying for online and whatnot, they're collecting cloud rents. And you have these billionaires getting richer and richer, okay? And as you see, okay, that wealth buys power, okay, or creates power, and that wealth and power, you know, buys political power, okay? And everyone else is a complaining spectator. As you see what happened with Elon Musk, right? He's the president. Trump is just being Trump, right? So at the end of the day, right, power is at the central core of the universe and everything we do. And power, you have to have power to move the inertia in life. So if you don't first seek power, okay, you're a little universe. We're not talking, you don't got to be a wealthy billionaire or whatnot. You just have to be able to do for yourself and be able to influence around the things you want to get done. That's good enough. So again, if you want power, you have to think long term, okay, and most importantly, think internally within yourself and within your own community, not externally. Look into others like government and organizations and other people. No one's gonna give up their or share power with you or give up their power, ill-gotten or not. Okay, that's a fantasy. Okay, and if you're living in a world where you believe morality will encourage people to move forward, guess what? Ain't gonna happen. Because it's at the end of the day, it's all about equity. Okay, and those assets that produce money creates wealth, and wealth creates power. Period. Everything else is a waste of time. Okay, so I want you to think for a moment. Okay, since George Floyd, these academics and so-called leaders with no experience in business or no experience in entrepreneurship never had any power. But you are allowing them to control your mind and lead you to these things like DEI, these constructs not based in reality, in a backwards way, right? In terms of how to achieve power. Guess what? Everybody wants power. So let's not pretend that yeah, you don't want money and power. We all do. Okay, it's part of the human condition. It's how you secure yourself and satisfy that human condition inside of you, right? So no one's going to give you that. Like you can't go politics, and then wealth. You have to do wealth, you know, and politics. Okay, so being led by people with no experience who've never done anything for themselves, particularly from an entrepreneurship and business, allowing them to lead you and allowing them to tell you, right, or allowing a nonprofit organization to tell you how to make profit is asinine. Okay, and that means you're not thinking for yourself. You're just following the crowd. You're following the ignorant herd. Okay, and don't follow the herd because you know what? Herds get slaughtered at the end of the day. Don't be a sucker and get slaughtered too. So again, think for yourself. Okay, and in memory of my mom, she always said, think for yourself, take personal responsibility for everything in your life, even though it's not your fault. And guess what? You'll always be strong, and if you do that, you'll succeed because you're dependent on the most important person, yourself. Okay? Personal responsibility is where it starts. Take that personal responsibility and watch the magic happen. Aim for greatness. Okay? Aim for greatness. And if you do that and never give up, okay, and think for yourself and be an individual, not part of the herd, all right, you'll get there. So again, right? Wealth, power, politics. Okay? That's how the real world works. Okay, folks? Applied intelligence out.